The first day of school, a psycho freshman showed up out of nowhere. She tried to kiss my boyfriend right off the bat, claiming she'd had a crush on him for 6 years and was ready to bravely pursue her love. She tried to steal my childhood sweetheart boyfriend again and again. Then, in the middle of the night, Richard snuck out to the balcony to take a call from her, keeping his voice down in a hushed whisper. Just as I was about to storm out there and catch him cheating, he suddenly lost it, shouting, "Nina, are you insane? Don't you have any friends? What good is calling me when you're drunk? Don't you dare try to guilt-trip me. If you call again and wake up my girlfriend, I'll have my dad cut off all your funding. You want to drink? Go drink the damn wind for all I care." I swear, all my stress just melted away. I rolled over and went straight to sleep. It was the first day of my sophomore year. As Richard and I were heading out to grab dinner after unpacking, a girl suddenly rushed up to us. She looked like a freshman. The girl took a deep breath, as if trying to work up the courage to look up. But after one glance at Richard, her face turned bright red, and she shyly looked down again. She was already cute, but the blush made her look even more adorable. I was used to this kind of thing, some random girl dramatically confessing her love for my boyfriend. I mean, Richard is ridiculously good-looking. He's the type who's handsome at first glance and still handsome on the second. And to be fair, guys hit on me all the time when I'm out, asking for my socials. The struggles of being a hot couple, I guess, hee. He and I are childhood sweethearts. We've been close forever and naturally started dating after high school graduation. I've witnessed plenty of girls confessing their feelings to him. But usually, they at least have the decency to acknowledge me, his actual girlfriend. But wow, this girl was on another level. She didn't even bother to give me a challenging look. After her shy little moment, she lunged forward and actually tried to kiss him. Luckily, Richard and I both have quick reflexes. We each put a hand up and pushed her face away. Even after being pushed back, she wasn't discouraged. She just smiled sweetly at Richard and said, "Hi, Richard, my name is Nina. I've liked you since middle school, and I came to Jiangnan University just for you. I hope we can get to know each other." And with that, she ran off. She left me and Richard just staring at each other. I was stunned. Is she crazy? He looked shaken. I think she's seriously sick. We didn't think much of it, just wrote it off as a weird little incident. But soon enough, Nina was back on our radar. My best friend, Jessica, sent me a TikTok with hundreds of thousands of likes, adding the caption, "Chloe, looks like your boy Richard is quite the charmer." In the video, Nina was standing in the middle of a circle of freshmen. Her skin was a little red from the sun during freshman orientation. But her eyes were shining. She was proudly and happily telling her story. "Hi everyone, my name is Nina. I only had one goal when I came to this university, Richard, the upperclassman. I've liked him since middle school. Back in 7th grade, my family was too poor and wasn't going to let me continue school. It was thanks to Richard's father's financial support that I'm able to be here with all of you today. During the toughest times in high school, it was my faith in Richard that kept me going. I used to be an ugly duckling, but I worked hard to lose weight over the summer so I could stand before him. Now, I can finally stand here confidently and say it out loud, Richard, I like you." A wave of enthusiastic applause followed. The video had only been up for 4 hours and already had over 100,000 likes. I checked the account. Well, what do you know, she posted it herself. Her profile picture was a selfie, and her handle was Nina in pursuit of love. The comments section was popping. Some people admired her courage and cheered her on. Others were curious about what Richard looked like. And then there were those calling her delusional, fantasizing about getting with her benefactor's son and trying to marry into money. A few people who knew Richard and me commented that he already had a girlfriend. I smirked and left a comment, "Nina, so nice to meet you this way." Then I looked down at the guy who was meticulously painting my toenails. I opened my camera and aimed it at him. A second later, I posted it to my Instagram story, so happy. My Richard. Not long after I posted, the comments flooded in, with people saying they'd never seen this side of Richard. A few minutes later, he happily held up his masterpiece for my approval. Babe, I'm done. The pink polish made my already fair feet look even more delicate. Who would have thought that the proud, cool Richard everyone else saw was so attentive to me in private? Seeing his praise me now expression, a mischievous thought crossed my mind. I propped my head up with my hand, gave him a wicked smile, and lifted my foot to rest it on his handsome face. Richard had bought an apartment near campus because he couldn't stand the dorms. And I have to say, the soundproofing in this place is fantastic. No matter what kind of games we play at night, no one ever complains. After her video went viral online, Nina became famous on campus. Everyone knew about the infatuated freshman girl who was powered by love. My comment on her video was seen by classmates, who replied under it, "The actual girlfriend has arrived to claim her territory." My profile suddenly gained a bunch of new followers. I usually post bits of my daily life, and people who clicked on my videos were like, "Whoa, the girlfriend is gorgeous. How does that other girl even dare?" But my popular comment was deleted soon after. Not just mine, but all the comments mentioning Richard had a girlfriend were gone too. All that was left were comments praising and encouraging her. Soon enough, she came looking for me. I sent Richard on an errand to buy my favorite cake from a popular dessert shop with a super long line. It was just the two of us in a coffee shop near campus. She got straight to the point. "I like Richard, and I hope we can compete for him fairly." I kept stirring my coffee. I took a sip and frowned. It was disgusting. After a moment, I finally answered her, slowly and deliberately. The nice way to put that is, fair competition. The blunt way is, knowingly being the other woman, and a desperate one at that. My words might be harsh, but they get the job done. As expected, my little speech immediately set her off. "The only thing you have on me is that you were born better off and met him a dozen years earlier. What are you so proud of? What does a princess like you, born with a silver spoon in her mouth, even know about love? No one loves Richard more than I do." I was getting a headache. I cut her off. "So how exactly do you plan to love Richard? With the wind you'll be eating for dinner once your financial aid gets cut? That's not love. That's being a burden. Sweetie, it's not that I look down on you, but the things you're doing are just ridiculous. Your existence doesn't make me feel threatened at all. For families like ours, it's all about being in the same social class. I'm in a good mood today, so here's a piece of advice. You can't choose where you come from, but you can create an infinite future. Maybe one day you'll make a name for yourself, and we'll all have to look up to you." Just as I finished, Richard walked in, carrying the cake I love and a coffee from my favorite cafe. Clearly, Nina hadn't listened to a word I said. I swear she's a quick change artist. The second she saw Richard about to walk in, she poured my coffee all over her own head. Her face instantly changed into a pitiful, innocent-looking mask. "Chloe, I really, really like Richard. She's hopeless. I shouldn't have wasted my breath." My face fell. My good mood for the day was ruined. When Richard came in, he looked completely clueless. What happened? The psycho freshman began her performance. "Richard, don't I even have the right to like you? Chloe not only told me to stop liking you, but she also threw coffee on me and told me to stay away from you." Richard immediately put down the things in his hands and cupped my face, checking me over. "Honey, are you okay? Did any of the coffee splash on you? Was it hot? If my Chloe doesn't like someone, then I don't like them either." Obviously, her act didn't work on Richard. Richard has always been fiercely protective, especially of me. I could literally see the color drain from Nina's face, going from red to purple to white. It was quite a show. I thought Richard's attitude would be enough to make Nina back off. But then she showed up at our drama club's recruitment day. Thanks to her viral video, she was pretty well known among the freshmen. A lot of people in the club recognized her and, of course, knew who the Richard she was talking about was. Everyone's eyes kept darting between the three of us, whispering amongst themselves like they were watching a show. A friend of mine whispered in my ear, "Looks like she came here for Richard. You better watch out." Meanwhile, Richard sat next to me the entire time, bored, just playing with my new manicure. He didn't even bother to look up. Nina deliberately sat right across from Richard. Her cheeks were slightly flushed as she said in a hushed voice, "Richard, Chloe, what a coincidence. I can't believe we ended up in the same club." Don't flatter yourself. Before the recruitment event, someone in the drama club's group chat was already gossiping about a freshman girl asking around to find out which club Richard was in. Besides, the only reason Richard joined the drama club in the first place was to keep me company. Neither Richard nor I responded to her, but she didn't seem embarrassed. She just smiled. The university was hosting a gala soon. Our club had to put on a performance. The president wrote a script so cheesy and melodramatic it made me want to roll my eyes. The plot was, the male lead and his childhood sweetheart, the second female lead, are together, but he gets drawn to a poor but resilient new girl, the female lead. After a series of maneuvers by the new girl, the male lead falls in love with her. He's even willing to risk being kicked out of his family to break off his engagement with his childhood sweetheart. But she refuses to accept it, turns into a villain, and does everything she can to sabotage the new couple's relationship. In the end, she gets what she deserves and ends up miserable, while the main couple lives happily ever after. After reading the script, I could barely hide the "are you kidding me" expression on my face. A wealthy childhood sweetheart loses to some girl who just showed up out of nowhere? Is love that cheap? I guess stories like that are best left in fiction. In the end, the president decided to cast the roles in the fairest way possible. By drawing lots. The results were so unbelievably dramatic that I have a strong suspicion the president rigged it just to stir the pot. Male lead, Richard. Female lead, Nina. Second female lead, the villain, Chloe. During rehearsal, we had to run lines. Nina fidgeted with her fingers and walked up to us, looking embarrassed. "Chloe, could I maybe practice the scene with Richard? I've already memorized my lines." I glanced at Richard, who looked completely unwilling, and my expression soured with impatience. I patted his head to soothe him. "Go on. If you do a good job, you'll get a reward tonight." Hearing the word reward, Richard's eyes lit up instantly, like a kid who just got candy. He looked at me expectantly. "Is it the reward I'm thinking of?" I gave him a non-committal nod. He happily went off with her. I sat in the audience, sipping my coffee and quietly watching them practice. Richard had his lines down perfectly, but he delivered them with a deadpan expression, completely devoid of emotion. He was just reciting words. Nina, on the other hand, was blushing and couldn't even look Richard in the eye, stumbling over her lines. Why so shy now? Where was the courage she had when she tried to force a kiss on him? Finally, Richard couldn't take her constantly having to check the script anymore. He told her firmly, "Your line delivery is terrible. You should probably go practice on your own. I'm going to go run lines with my girlfriend." Then he came scurrying back to me. He leaned in and whispered in my ear, his deep, magnetic voice saying the most inappropriate things. "Babe, about that reward tonight, does it involve you wearing that new outfit I bought you? I really love that one. Please wear it for me." A man's wheedling is truly a deadly weapon. My ears turned bright red. I finally had to clamp my hand over his mouth to stop him from saying anything else scandalous. While we were messing around, I accidentally met Nina's resentful gaze from across the room. "I pushed the guy right in front of you. It's your own fault you're useless and couldn't seize the opportunity. Why blame me?" The instant Richard turned his head, she immediately switched back to her sweet demeanor, smiling at us with pursed lips. I seriously suspect she's a trained quick change artist. After rehearsal, the freshman girl ran up and blocked our path. She clutched the hem of her shirt, looking like she wanted to say something but couldn't get the words out. Richard and I had no idea what was going on. Suddenly remembering her attempted kiss on the first day of school, Richard, a grown man, instinctively edged closer to me. I raised an eyebrow and said, "Is there something you need, Nina?" She timidly glanced up at Richard, a blush creeping onto her cheeks, and stammered, "Chloe, can I borrow your boyfriend? I keep having all sorts of problems when I practice by myself, and I want to borrow Richard, to, build some chemistry. Please don't get the wrong idea. This is my first time performing on stage, and I really want to do a good job. But I've never been in a relationship before, so I'm worried I won't be able to portray the emotions correctly. So, I was hoping I could borrow him." The more she spoke, the redder her face got. And the more I listened, the more confused I became. "You've never been in a relationship, so why do you need to build chemistry with my boyfriend?" "Because I don't want to, with other guys." I nudged the still clueless Richard beside me with my elbow. "Are you willing?" He shook his head like a drum. I spoke up. "Sorry, Nina, but your upperclassman isn't willing." The blush faded from Nina's face, leaving her looking pale. She turned and walked away without another word. Even though Richard rejected her bizarre request, Nina didn't give up. In the following days, Nina was always trailing behind us, or more accurately, behind Richard. She was building chemistry in her own way. Whenever he had an early morning class, there was guaranteed to be a heartfelt breakfast waiting in his desk. If Richard so much as coughed, she would immediately send a message asking if he was okay. During the rehearsal period, Nina was constantly updating her video account. Every single post was about Richard. A picture of the script, "So lucky to be your leading lady." A picture that was originally a photo of me and Richard, which she cropped to show only his back. "Just his back is enough to make me swoon." And a sneaky photo of her shadow next to Richard's. "I believe the ugly duckling will become a swan." Then, using her lack of relationship experience as an excuse, she would message Richard on her phone every day to build chemistry. Of course, unless it was about official business, Richard ignored everything else. That night, I was finally taking a break and went out for a girls' night with my friends, without Richard. He got annoyed and organized a guys' night right next door. He watched me like a hawk the whole time, worried I'd drink too much or that some guy would try to hit on me. In the bustling bar, under the flashing lights, countless handsome guys and beautiful girls danced to the rhythm of the music. Plenty of guys did come up to ask for my socials, and of course, plenty of girls hit on Richard too. I shot him a throat-slitting gesture from across the room, and he blew me a kiss back. My best friend Lexi couldn't stand us anymore. She threw her arm around me, her eyes full of envy. "All right, Chloe, that's enough. This is a girls' night. No PDA allowed." Then, her tone shifted, and she pulled out her phone, opening Nina's account. "Anyway, what's the deal with that girl I sent you? I see she's been posting a lot lately, and it's all about Richard. Is this girl delusional or something? She knows he has a girlfriend, but she's still over there living in her own little fantasy world." A small smile played on my lips as I downed my drink in one go. "Don't worry. Her existence doesn't make me feel the least bit threatened. It wasn't that she wasn't a threat, but that Richard's love was so solid and out in the open that he gave me all the security I needed." In the end, Lexi got drunk and started passionately cursing out Nina. Then, with a grand wave of her hand, "That's my richest friend for you." She dropped thousands of dollars on bots to flood Nina's comment section. Best friends for life. When Nina woke up the next morning, her world had collapsed. Her once positive comments section was now filled with insults. She couldn't delete them fast enough. Her original fans were still trying to argue with the negative comments. But they were completely outnumbered. The main reason was that some of the bots Lexi bought were run by people who actually knew us. They started posting photos of me and Richard that other people had taken around campus. Everyone at school knew we were a couple. And yet Nina was so brazenly posting her love pursuit diary every day. It came back to my blunt but accurate statement: she was practically begging to be the other woman. The fans who had supported her all turned against her, and the criticism was overwhelming. In internet terms, she was cancelled. At first, she tried posting videos playing the victim. In the videos, Nina looked pitiful, her face streaked with tears. All I did was like a guy I like. What did I do wrong? Why should love be about who came first? I was just a little late. But when she posted that video, she had no idea that her so-called love would get her even more hate from netizens. Finally, Nina deleted her account. News travels incredibly fast online these days. Overnight, Nina once again became a celebrity at school. Except this time, her reputation was in the gutter. The first time she appeared in the public eye, everyone thought she was a pure and honest girl. This time, however, knowing full well that the guy she liked had a girlfriend, she still posted suggestive captions and photos. "I'm so sorry, Chloe. My feelings for Richard got a little out of control, and I never meant to cause you two any trouble. From now on, outside of rehearsals, I won't bother Richard anymore. I'm truly sorry." Nina stood in front of everyone and apologized to me with a look of innocent sincerity. Her words were apologetic, but I could still see the resentment in her eyes. Being the sweet, angelic person I am, I naturally played along. Otherwise, it would look like I was bullying her, and she's always been good at putting on an act in front of people. After that, she stopped messaging Richard to build chemistry. Instead, she started messaging me every day. I had no idea what she was up to this time. But it definitely wasn't anything good. It left everyone else confused too. Especially Richard, who at one point thought Nina had switched teams and developed a crush on me. His opinion of her got even worse. Because Nina was constantly messaging me, sometimes about points in the script she didn't understand, other times about questions from our major classes we were in the same program. I would reply depending on my mood, maybe one message if I felt like it. After all, when something is this out of character, there's got to be something fishy going on. I wasn't about to trust her easily. Just when everyone thought we were getting along great, I finally realized what she was doing. She was using her friendship with me to clean up her reputation. As long as she didn't cause any more trouble, I couldn't be bothered to deal with it. Unfortunately, she didn't keep it up for long before she was back to her usual innocent but shady comments. Because I was going out with Lexi and the girls that night, I got dressed up beforehand. I did a smoky eye, wore a tank top and shorts, and threw on a leather jacket since it had been getting cooler lately. When the other members of the drama club saw me at rehearsal, they were all stunned. Nina came over and chimed in with the others. "You look so beautiful today, Chloe. Are you going out?" "Yeah." While I was in the bathroom, she started talking about me in front of everyone. "Chloe does look really pretty today, but isn't her outfit a little revealing? Or maybe my thinking is just too old-fashioned. I usually just go makeup-free and wear t-shirts and pants. I've never been to a bar before. Aren't places like that dangerous?" Her implication was obvious. As she spoke, her eyes kept darting towards Richard, trying to get his attention. She got her wish. Richard, who had been engrossed in his phone, looked up at her. Nina got a little excited. But then he said, "Which is why you're not as pretty as my Chloe. And so what if she goes to a bar or a club? What am I, her boyfriend, for? What century are you living in? You think showing a little leg is revealing? Are you stuck in the Victorian era?" Richard never holds back with people he doesn't know well. I used to criticize him for not being more careful with his words around girls, for not giving them away to save face. This time, however, all I wanted to do was give him a thumbs up and say, "Well done, my Richard." I thought my interactions with Nina were limited to school and drama club rehearsals. So I was surprised to see her again at my friend's party over the weekend. Except she wasn't there to party, she was working to earn money. I was laughing with a friend, talking about her new limited edition sports car. Just then, Nina came over with a tray of wine glasses and placed it in front of us. At first, she maintained a polite smile. The moment she looked up and our eyes met, her smile froze and almost broke. I didn't react. We weren't close, so there was no need to say hi. Besides, she probably didn't want me to recognize her anyway. A little while later, I heard a pleading voice from the doorway. "Sir, I'm not feeling well. I'd like to request some time off." The male manager in the black uniform looked annoyed and flat out refused. In the end, she had no choice. Not wanting to lose the high-paying part-time job, she had to suck it up and go back to the room to pour drinks. I glanced at her before going back to playing games with my friends. Somehow, the conversation turned to me and Richard. Everyone was talking about how good Richard is to me, how he can't live without me, and all that. Suddenly, a friend who had just gotten her heart broken by a jerk and was pretty drunk stood up. "I don't believe there are any good men in this world." "You really should. Remember that girl's night out when Chloe didn't bring him? He set up a guy's night at the table right next to ours." "I still don't believe it. I dare you to make a bet with me." "Bet what?" "My new pink supercar." I had been listening to their argument with mild interest, but as soon as I heard pink supercar, I was fully invested. I had seen that car by the entrance, and my eyes lit up. I put down my wine glass, unable to contain my excitement. "What's the bet?" "It's simple. You text him right now and say you're drunk. If he gets here in 20 minutes, you win." "What's the difference between that and just giving it to me?" I hesitated. "Are you sure?" "Of course." All right, my dream car was about to be mine. Without a moment's hesitation, I sent him a text. "Richard, I'm drunk." To prevent me from colluding with him, they confiscated my phone. I went to the bathroom at one point. When I came out of the stall, I saw Nina waiting for me by the door. She smirked, as if she'd caught me doing something wrong. "What do you think Richard would think if he knew you were using him for a bet? Don't you think he'd feel like his feelings were being played with and break up with you on the spot?" I calmly reapplied my lipstick in the mirror. My tone was nonchalant. "He can think whatever he wants." Seeing me so calm and collected, her face flushed with anger. "Where do you get this confidence? How can you be so fearless? I'm going to make Richard see your true colors and understand who really loves him the most." I was speechless. "Are you bipolar or something? You're one person in public and another in private. And where does your mysterious confidence come from? I never understood what you even like about Richard. I've seen plenty of girls chase after him, but you're the first one I've seen who keeps running into a brick wall and doesn't stop. You keep saying you're repaying a debt of gratitude, but instead of thanking his dad for the financial aid, you're here obsessively stalking Richard." She couldn't answer. She just tossed her head and said, You wouldn't understand. Richard will be mine sooner or later." Before I could even get back to our private room, I saw two figures, one tall and one short, standing at the door. Richard was still catching his breath, clearly having rushed over. Nina was standing there, looking like she was about to say something, but then she launched into her usual innocent but shady act. "Richard, actually, Chloe lied to you. She's not drunk at all. She just made a bet with some people. I can't believe she doesn't care about your feelings at all, using you for a bet like that. You must have been in such a hurry to get here. Let me get you some water." Richard was staring intently at something behind her. Noticing his gaze, Nina followed it. A triumphant, provocative smile flashed across her face as she looked at me, which she quickly replaced with an innocent, "Who, me?" expression. "Chloe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blab. I just couldn't stand to see Richard being deceived." I walked over. Richard's brow was furrowed. He spoke. "You used me in a bet? Do you have any idea how fast I drove to get here? What did you bet on?" I said, "My dream car." What happened next was a complete plot twist, something Nina had not seen coming at all. She just stood there, stunned. Richard excitedly threw his arms around my shoulders, his voice filled with exhilaration. "So does that mean you won? Does that mean I get to ride shotgun?" I did a quick mental calculation. It had definitely been less than 20 minutes. I nodded. He was even more excited than I was as he walked into the room. Let's go, get the keys. Time to pick up the new car." Nina's hands were clenched into tight fists, her face a mask of resentment. The poor girl's defenses were shattered again. The night of the gala arrived quickly. The play was going smoothly, but when it got to the end, Nina suddenly ad-libbed a kiss scene. While Richard's guard was down, she tried to kiss him. The club president was freaking out on the sidelines, frantically flipping through the script and muttering, "This isn't in the script, this part isn't in here." Luckily, Richard was quick and dodged it. He managed to improvise and smooth it over. The play ended with a final bow to thunderous applause. After we got off stage, Richard, a grown man, threw himself into my arms, dramatically wailing, "Boo-hoo, babe, that was so scary. I almost lost my innocence back there." Nina walked towards us. Seeing someone approach, Richard immediately switched back to his cool, aloof public persona. I don't know why, but I had a feeling that after the play, something about Nina seemed off. If her previous gazes at Richard were shy and subtle, her stare was now direct and bordering on obsessive. Ever since that gala night, Nina seemed to have become completely unhinged. She started a new video account. This time, she edited clips from our play and uploaded them. She cut out most of the story, keeping only the scenes where she and Richard were on screen together, and ended it with the shot of the male and female leads getting together. Her caption read, "This is the only ending that belongs to us." It seemed like she was convinced the play's ending was her own destiny. She started to ignore what other people thought and pursued Richard with a frightening intensity. She was at every single event Richard participated in. After his basketball games, she was always the first one to rush up with a towel and a bottle of water. Even when Richard ignored her, she was never discouraged and kept showing up to every game. Sometimes when Richard and I were eating in the cafeteria, she would be trailing behind us, making sure to get the exact same food he did. She quit her part-time jobs and spent all her time figuring out which elective classes Richard was taking so she could sign up for them too. Sometimes, beautifully wrapped desserts and sticky notes would mysteriously appear on Richard's desk. It was as if she couldn't see the disgust in Richard's eyes. She just kept up her constant, unsolicited attention. And several times, when Richard and I were walking back to the apartment, I felt like someone was following us. But whenever I turned around, there was no one there. At night, she would constantly send messages to Richard. Just as I was getting fed up with all of this, I noticed that Richard had been acting a bit strange at night for the past couple of days. Last night, I woke up suddenly needing to use the bathroom and found the space next to me in bed empty. Where was Richard? It sounded like someone was on the phone on the balcony. I stood outside the door, eavesdropping. Because the glass door was closed, I couldn't hear clearly. I could only make out Richard's hushed voice, which sounded soft and gentle. Could the person on the other end of the line be Nina? Was Richard actually talking to her behind my back? Had he finally been moved by her relentless pursuit? Suddenly, my chest felt tight. This was the first time I had ever felt a sense of crisis. By the time Richard finished his call, I was already lying in bed with my back to him. He wrapped his arms around me and held me as he fell asleep, just like always. It was as if the scene I'd just witnessed was all in my head. The next day, before going to bed, a friend sent me a picture. It was a photo of Richard and Nina alone in a coffee shop. No wonder Richard had told me earlier that day he had to run an errand. Turns out he was secretly meeting Nina for coffee behind my back. What were they talking about? Was Richard really starting to fall for her? He was lying next to me, and his phone rang several times, but he rejected the call each time. Finally, I decided to pretend I was asleep to see if he would really go out to the balcony to secretly take a call again tonight. Richard got up, annoyed. After making sure I wasn't woken up, he went to the balcony to answer the phone. I stood in the same eavesdropping spot as yesterday. This time, again, Richard was speaking softly to the person on the other end. Just as I thought my relationship was really being stolen from me, he suddenly lost it and started screaming. "Nina, what the hell is wrong with you? Can't you understand plain English? Don't you have any friends? What does you being drunk have to do with me? I've been putting up with you for so damn long. Don't you dare try to guilt trip me. I wouldn't care if you dropped dead outside. If you dare to call here again and wake up my girlfriend, I'll have my dad cut off all your funding. You want a drink? Go drink the damn wind for all I care. Hearing that, it was like a cloud had lifted. I felt completely at ease. I swear, all my stress just melted away. I went back to bed for a wonderful night's sleep. Later, I asked Richard. Why are you so good to me? Why do you always take my side? A smile spread across his face as he dried my hair. He answered me seriously. You're the girl I've known I was going to marry since we were kids. Who else would I be good to? Besides, my dad always says the wife's word is law. A happy wife means a happy life. In the end, Richard did decide to have his dad cut off Nina's financial aid. He wanted that money to go to kids who had dreams and ambitions, who wanted to escape poverty, not be wasted on someone trapped in their own romantic delusions. After the funding was cut, Nina quieted down for a long time. Our lives were finally peaceful and undisturbed. Just when we thought everything had calmed down. Nina was sitting on the edge of the roof of an academic building, her feet dangling in the air. She had been calling Richard's phone over and over. By the time a crowd had gathered below and firefighters had set up an airbag, we finally heard the news and rushed over. Nina's hair was a mess, and her face was pale and haggard. I heard that after her funding was cut, combined with the fact that she hadn't been working, she had barely any money left. She'd clearly had a rough time. On top of that, because she had neglected her studies to chase after Richard, a lot of her professors were unhappy with her and failed her for the semester. When she saw us, Nina let out a maniacal laugh. You must be so pleased to see me like this, aren't you? You've been wishing I was dead all along, haven't you? Why were you two born so lucky, with silver spoons in your mouths? Chloe, you just got lucky in life, that's all. But if that wasn't enough, why did the guy I like have to like you too? I was the female lead in the play. The male and female leads are supposed to be together. Richard, you're supposed to be with me. I'm the main character. I looked at the unhinged person in front of me with a blank expression. I stepped forward. Richard grabbed my hand nervously. I gave him a reassuring look, and he slowly let go. Just when everyone thought I was going to talk her down, I spoke. If you're going to jump, then jump. Even if you do, Richard won't give you a second glance. Maybe you'll even get to be reincarnated. But don't say I didn't warn you, the quota for reincarnation in this country is probably full right now. You might end up in Africa or India in your next life. And if you fall and don't die, you could be paralyzed, stuck in bed for the rest of your life, not quite living, not quite dead. As expected, after hearing my words, she glanced down nervously, her grip on the railing tightening. But she still had to be stubborn. You're talking nonsense. I'm telling you, even if I become a ghost, I'll haunt you both forever. She's hopeless. Let her be. Live or die, I don't care. I let out a deep sigh, took Richard's hand, and walked away without looking back. Because I knew she wouldn't jump. After we left, she eventually climbed back down, her legs trembling. In the end, she was held in administrative detention for disturbing public order. And because of her actions, she was expelled from the university. She had a limitless future ahead of her, but she took a wrong turn at a fork in the road. I never heard any news about her after that. It was as if she had vanished off the face of the earth. As for me and Richard, we decided to study abroad. Before we left, we had an engagement party. A more beautiful future was waving at us, and we weren't going to let anyone stop us from moving forward.